Hello everybody, this is Mr. Abba. Welcome back to another episode of the Los Angeles Clippers MyNBA series here on NBA 2K24. Today we got a big one because today we continue the offseason with the free agency period. So if you're excited for this one, make sure you drop a like and you subscribe down below, especially if you want more basketball content. Before we get into free agency, last episode we had the NBA draft. If you missed it, I would recommend going to check it out. I'll put the link in the description below as well as at the end of the video. We only had one pick. It was in the second round. We took Riley Kugel out of Florida. Now, here is our roster going into free agency. And obviously the big question is our big three. Maybe even our big four if you want to call it that. Leonard, Harden, George, and Westbrook are all free agents this offseason. We only have 4 men under contract going into the next year. So we could either blow it up or we could try to run it back with the same core. So a lot of options here for the front office. We're going to start, though, with team player options, and Paul George accepts. I thought him, Leonard, and Westbrook would all decline, but instead George has decided to accept his player options. So PG-13 will be back with the Los Angeles Clippers next season, and this is big for us because I thought George played really, really well last year. Obviously, he dealt with that knee injury, but PG-13 will stick around. We're going to extend all of our qualifying offers to Brandon Boston Jr., Moussa Diabate, and Jason Preston. This is not guaranteeing they're going to stay on the team. I just want to have that offer sheet on them for restricted free agency. So now let's get into the free agency period where we will find out where the top stars will go. LeBron James headlines. There's been some questions about him because of his son being drafted to the New York Knicks. We'll have to see what happens. Now, with George re-signing on his player option, I think that means we got to go for it for another year. We're going to be going into the Intuit Dome, and I think starting off with George, Leonard, and Harden in that new era would be ideal. So we're going to offer a contract to both Harden and Leonard. Both contracts are 2-year deals with player options on the second. So if we want, we're not committed long term. We're going to run it back for another year and see what happens between the 2024-2025 season. We're the top offer for Harden. He's gotten a lot of interest from the Raptors as well as a number of other teams. As here is, we're going to simulate the first day, and we do indeed get both Leonard and Harden. Both of them signed their 2-year contracts. Leonard 2 years, $92 million. Harden 2 years, $85.36 million. Both obviously with player options after this year. So our big three is back in town, but we also got to fill out our bench. And one guy I do want to bring back is Robert Covington. His numbers won't wow you, but I do think he played a very important role off the bench, and he only wants a minimum contract, so we're going to offer that to Covington. He accepts as well. So Big Cov is back in LA. Now, the fourth guy on our list was Russell Westbrook, and he's starting to draw some interest from OKC, which would be very interesting. Now, a very polarizing player. I do think Westbrook brought a lot to the team. His numbers will say otherwise, but I really thought he brought that grit, he brought that leadership, and he hit the clutch shots when needed down the stretch. He played a lot better after the All-Star break. So I am interested in bringing back Westbrook for another year in LA. So we're going to offer him a 1-year, $12.5 million contract and see if that's enough to sway him around. It says he declines, but we're now in front of the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, speaking of returns, we get our big guys. So Kenyon Martin, we actually can't afford right now. I was going to want him to return, but we have to rethink him, and I don't know if we can afford him. Speaking of afford, Westbrook is drawing a lot more interest now as the free agency period begins, and the Raptors and Pistons have all kind of topped us, and they're willing to give him that $20 million a year that I'm not willing to. Another guy who could return to Los Angeles, how about Blake Griffin, the former number 1 overall pick from the Los Angeles Clippers in his first year? I think he could be an interesting minimum guy who could add a little bit off the bench. Obviously nowhere near what he used to be, but we get Blake Griffin, so there's a little bit of a reunion there between him and the Clippers. Another guy I'm interested in to fill out that front court, Batum retired and we lost Morris during a trade. How about Kevin Love? Another veteran who knows how to win. He's won a championship with Cleveland, and he just went to the finals 2 years in a row with the Miami Heat. So we offer him a 1-year, $5 million contract. He accepts, so he's also reunited with Tyronn Lue from their stint in the Cavaliers. Now, unfortunately, we will not return Kenyon Martin Jr. We have been outpriced because of the Spurs and Mavericks and Thunder. Our contract has been tied up, and we didn't have bird rights on him, so we couldn't bring him back. To go along with the veteran returns, Marcus Morris Jr., we're going to give him a minimum contract. We traded him away in the Harden deal, but he is going to return to Los Angeles to give us some more front court depth. And that'll really do it for our signings. We didn't have a lot of big ones besides our big three, and here are the big signings around the league. The biggest one, Klay Thompson is going to the Orlando Magic. So the Golden State Splash Brothers are over. Thompson is in Orlando now on a 3-year contract. Pascal Siakam took a 1-year deal with the Washington Wizards as well. And Valanciunas to the Hawks. So a couple of big names on the move around the NBA this offseason. We obviously kind of stood pat. So we're going to run it back for another season and see how it goes as we enter a new era with the Intuit Dome. Not tied up long term though. If this team kind of falters, we get a blow it up at the deadline and get some picks back. I like where we stand. We're still in that in-between phase. We're still a very veteran-heavy team, but I think it's where we need to be going into this new season. So let me know in the comments section below, what did you think of our free agency period? It wasn't splashy, but we did what we needed to do. Next episode, we will get through the rest of the offseason, the Summer League, the hoops, the All-Star City selection, as well as player progression. So if you're excited for that one and you enjoyed, make sure you drop a like and you subscribe down below, especially if you want more Clippers basketball content. Shorter episode today, but a big one to set the foundation for the season to come. This is Mr. Rob, and I'll see you in the next one.